We now want to listening to what the private security players are saying. They're meeting with the private sector regulatory authority, and I can see the Director General Fazul Mohammed is on the podium.
Yeah, so that when we come calling and we want to ensure compliance, it is a law that you have done what? You have familiarized yourself with. Tumelewana? So section 21 and 28 of the Act requires that no person shall engage in the provision of security services unless that person has undergone mandatory security vetting. Sometimes you employ criminals without you knowing. Who has the vetting apparatus? Security vetting, the state, isn't it? So we will assist you to undertake all your officers for vetting, training, and licensing in accordance with the Act. Let it be crystal clear. The law makes it a mandatory requirement that you must go through what? Security, vetting. Number 2, training and licensing. By the time a student is interacting with you, or by the time the public is interacting with you, hafai kukuita askari ama soja, wanafaa kukuita na majina yako, yale umepatiwa, and there is a license there. Okay? The Private Security Regulations Act is our Magna Carta. It is the script upon which we must all follow. As custodians of safety and order in our institutions, you are subject to and must at all times respect and comply with the provisions of the Private Security Regulations Act number 13 of 2016. And number 1 principle under that act is respect and uphold section 238, article 238 of the Constitution of Kenya. What does article 238 talks about? National security. Okay? You have a duty and an obligation to cooperate with the national security organs. Whether it is, who can mention for me the national security organs here? Sigalagala. Any national security organ? Office of the DCI. Okay. Another one? National Intelligence Service. Any? Yes, National Police Service, Kenya Defense Forces. You have an obligation. You are not operating in space. You are part and parcel of the national security infrastructure. And that's why we have a duty, and we are concerned that we want to make sure that all your officers in your employment understand, are they able to detect or to identify and preserve evidence? When they see an evidence, ama watakuja na fagio wafagie. In the process, they interfere with evidence. Your people should be able to do what? Identify and preserve evidence. So that we have, the moment we have the national security organs come on board, they're able to do what? To collect. Tumelewana. In strict compliance with the law, all universities, colleges, national polytechnics, KMTCs, TVETs, and all institutions of higher learning must implement a holistic approach to security management to create a safe environment that is conducive for learning, research, and personal development. And some of the things you can do, sometimes you might go back to your institution and say, now we need a lot of money to do some of these changes that we are telling you to do. They may not necessarily require money. For a risk assessment, have you done a risk assessment in your institution? Sometimes I see adverts, you say Kenyatta University requires 1,000 guards. What has informed 1,000 guards? Why not 800? Why not 2,000? Why not 400? What has informed that number? Yeah? So, as heads of security in our institutions of higher learning, you must fully understand the complexities of the terrain.
Fazul Mohammed, the CEO of Private Sector Regulatory Authority, they are addressing members of the private sector, private security players there, and of course about the new regulations we'll keep you posted on what's happening here. We're also keeping an eye on what's happening at State House. The president is expected to meet executives from Lipton Tea Company, where they are setting up an innovation center here in Kenya. We'll be giving you more details, and of course our reporters are on the ground just to ensure that we get a hint as to what's happening.